a pelican's flight. Dear Fairhope, Alabama, my heart is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Debbie, and I'm on the Fairhope Single Tax Corporation Education Committee, and we have other members here. We have Margaret Neely, and we have Coach Miller. And Alan Samory is kind of on it too, sort of. Liaison, there you go. And thank you, Catherine King, for coming. But thank you all for coming. So tonight, sorry, I'm short, so I don't want to mess up the microphone here. It is my extreme honor to introduce Chris Weinberg. He is with the Fairhope Volunteer Fire Department, and I have a few notes on him. He's been there for 10 years. He is a lieutenant. He's been a board member for 5 years. His work experience was 31 years as a senior director for Walmart, and now he is a chain manager with Golf Distributing of Mobile. So he's a very smart person and very kind. And tonight he's going to share about the new fire station training center, and this is at Station 2, and it's located on Thompson Hall Road. And we featured information about it in the Fairhoper's Newsletter previously, and in our next Fairhoper's we'll have more with lots of photos. I was privileged to go and take a lot of photos, and he supplied a lot for me too. I think tonight he'll be centering on the training center itself and some of the activities that they do. And they have their annual HOT, H-O-T training, and people, men and women, come from all over our nation. And then they just had their annual open house that was on the 18th, and everyone loves it. And we had an awesome ribbon cutting, and I'm sure he might share about that. But it was very emotional, and it was awesome. All right, another few points he might share about the new fire engines that are coming and how they get their funding, and maybe a little bit of the history of the department and how they work with the city. The FSTC gave them $745,000 in October of 2024 for this wonderful project. But we are very excited to have him tonight, and please give him a warm welcome.
All right, good evening. So I appreciate the invite to be here. It's always great to talk about the fire department, kind of let the community know a little bit about us and what we do and how we operate, and some of the things that are going on in the city for the fire department. So, and I promise I won't get as emotional tonight as I did at the ribbon cutting. So a little bit about our department. So we are a 100% volunteer organization, so every member of our department is volunteer. We average about 52 to 55 members at any given time. Although the meeting we had last week, we had, I believe, 6 people apply to be on the department. I believe a large part of that is because of the publicity and the exposure we've been getting with the new training center. And I think a lot of people just want to be a part of that, so that was really exciting. Probably the most applicants we'd ever had in 1 month in a very long time, so that was really exciting for us. We provide emergency medical services, obviously fire suppression, rescue response, community risk reduction, and public education to the residents of Fairhope, as well as the businesses and the visitors. So just a little bit about, there we go. Our background. So the Volunteer Fire Department's been serving the community since approximately 1936. The records are a little iffy in some cases, but we believe 1936 is the year that it was officially started. We cover approximately 48 square miles, around 26,000 residents in this area. We also respond to mutual aid to communities that surround us. So we respond to Daphne, we respond to Barnwell, we respond to Fish River, we respond to Silver Hill, and so forth when they need assistance with the larger type calls, house fires and calls of that nature. Again, we average about 55 volunteers at any given time, and those volunteers each receive a minimum of 120 hours of training every year. So we train every 2 weeks, every month, and we also have additional trainings on weekends and things like that that add to those hours as well. About 3/4 of our volunteers have a minimum of firefighter 1 and/or firefighter 2. We also have members that are EMTs, paramedics. We have many fire instructors. We have many, obviously, fire officers. We have technical rescue. We have extrication specialists. So we have a very wide variety of certifications on our department with members. We have members that also are on paid fire departments. So we have members that are paid firefighters in Mobile. We have members that are paid firefighters in Spanish Fort and Bay Minette, Gulf Shores. So they get that experience as well, and they get to bring that back to the volunteer department. So that's a pretty neat thing that we have. They work in those departments, but they live in Fairhope, so they're able to volunteer. We're a nonprofit organization. So we're contracted by the City of Fairhope. So we sign a contract with the City of Fairhope to provide emergency services. We do that every few years. So the city helps us out significantly with our needs, and we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. These are just some stats and numbers for calls that we respond to. So last year we responded to 1,572 calls. So that includes EMS, motor vehicle accidents, fires, all the above. So quite a few calls for us to respond to. We don't respond to every medical call. We respond to calls such as cardiac arrest, really the more major medical calls. And then we also, when a medical unit needs assistance, lifting someone up off the floor or something like that, or if they're going to have a delayed response, we respond to help with that as well. But you won't see a fire engine or a fire department member at every medical call in Fairhope. It's just not something that we do at this time. So, and right now we don't feel that it's necessary. So we have MedStar, who does a great job in this area taking care of the residents. About 1/3 of our calls are EMS or medical related. One of the things we're really proud of is our ISO rating. We have a 4 ISO rating, which puts us in the top 26% of all fire departments nationwide. So if you look at just the state of Alabama, there's 1,420 fire departments in the state of Alabama, and that ISO rating puts us in the top 380 departments in the state. So we're really, really proud of that. The ISO rating of 4, so the lower the number for an ISO rating, the better. So 1 is the best, I believe 10 is the worst, 9 or 10 is the worst. So a 4 is a really good rating for us. And again, that's one of the better ratings in the county. So we're really, really proud of that. Funding, so that was mentioned earlier. Funding comes from the taxes, county taxes. So every fire department in the county gets the same amount of ad valorem taxes. So every volunteer department gets the same amount of taxes each year. So that we get funding from that. We get funding from the City of Fairhope. They help us significantly. Almost any time we go to the city and ask for something, if they can fit it in their budget, they try and fit it in their budget to assist us. We have our annual letter fund drive. So that's the letter that you get. Typically you're going to get it in February, March timeframe. I believe they went out in February this year. And it's the one time a year that we solicit a donation from our residents. So we're very fortunate that we have a huge success with that. The residents are very supportive of our department, so we really appreciate everything that we get from the community. We also do fundraisers. So we have a golf tournament. We had our first one last year, and we raised a really good amount of money last year with that. We're going to have another one this year, which I'm going to plug that at the very end. So we had so much attendance and support last year. We're actually doubling the capacity of that golf tournament this year. So we're really excited to have that in October. We also apply for grants. So there's a lot of grants available to fire departments, specifically to volunteer fire departments, that we apply for. So we're able to get funds through that as well. And then community donations, just general community donations. It was mentioned earlier by Ms. Debbie. One of the big ones that we received recently was from Single Tax, where they gave us $745,000 to build our new training center. And I have some slides that are going to talk about that here in just a minute. So that's kind of how we do our funding. Our stations and equipment, so we have 4 stations throughout the city. We have one, Station 1 is behind the hospital. Station 2 is on Thompson Hall Road. That's where our training center is. Station 3 is out at the airport. And then Station 4 is on Parker Road behind Publix. A lot of people don't even know that that one exists, but it's kind of hidden. If you don't drive out that little Parker Road, you would never see it, but it's a little small 2-truck station out there on Parker Road. We operate with 5 engines, 2 rescue trucks. We have a ladder truck. We have another ladder truck coming, which I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We have 3 squad vehicles, 4 support vehicles. We do have an airport crash truck. We're one of only 2 departments in the county that have an airport crash truck. We have an ATV or UTV for brush fires, and then we also have a fireboat, which is currently being completely refurbished right now for the summer. So that should be ready within a week or 2. There is a plan for Station 5. So we were donated land out across from the Waters, right on 181. That new neighborhood out there from 68 Ventures that they're building, so they donated us just short of 2 acres. So we do have a plan for Station 5. Not exactly sure on the timeline of that. It's probably a couple years away, but as the growth continues out there on 181 with Publix, and you have the restaurants popping up in front of it, and then you have the Wawa, and there's another apartment complex going out on 104. So the need is there, and will be there certainly in a couple years for us to have another station out there. So we will have a 5th station shortly. Well, within a few years. So these are some exciting things coming in 2026. So this is our new Engine 3. So this was really neat. This was kind of an idea of some of the members of our department. So this engine is going to be put at our station out at the airport. So it's, as you can see, it's Fairhope Pirate themed. So we're really excited about that. We think the community is really going to love that. Going to look great in parades. Going to look great going to the schools and doing all the community things that we love to do. So we're really excited to get this in. This truck's been on order for over 2 years. So just to kind of give you an idea, right now, when COVID hit, it slowed everything down, including fire truck production. So it takes about 3 years to get a fire truck now. So if we order it now, we won't see that truck for at least 2.5 to 3 years. So this one, by the time we get it, it'll be 3 years since we ordered it. So, but we're really excited to get it. We're also getting this year, that one's coming in into September, beginning of October, and then we're getting a new ladder truck. So that ladder truck is going to go out at Station 2, where our training center is on Thompson Hall Road. We decided to put a ladder truck out there because of the growth of the apartments, and then you have the USA Medical Center right there at 181 and 104. So there was a need to have a ladder truck out there in addition to the ladder truck that obviously needs to stay here near downtown. So we decided to purchase another ladder truck. The city bought that for us, ladder trucks. That one, I believe, was about $1.3 million. Ladder trucks now are running about $2 million. So they're not cheap. They're very expensive, and the cost just continues to go up. So, but when we ordered that one, it was a little cheaper than they are now. So we have that coming, and then we also have a new engine coming to Station 1 as well. So it's just a regular fire engine to replace one that was damaged. So we're excited to have all of this coming. All of this we're going to get in the fall, maybe into the winter a little bit, but we're really excited to have all this equipment. We have probably the best, certainly within the top 2 or 3 departments as far as equipment goes in the county. And so we're very blessed that we have a city and the community that supports us to be able to have the equipment that we have. So rest assured, when you have a fire engine come to you, it's in really good shape. And after these 3 get here, we'll probably have the most newer trucks of anybody anywhere around us. So we're really excited about that. Some of the trucks we're replacing are 20 years old. And so financially, we had not been in a position, and the city had not been in the position for many years. COVID played a part in that to help us get some fire engines, but things are recovering a little bit, and so now we're in a financial position, as well as the city's able to help us get some. So really excited about this. Some of the training. So this was talked about. So I mentioned earlier that we do 120 hours minimum per year at our training center. So not only do we have the training center that Single Tax built for us, but we also have a lot of props. We have, if you go out there ever, you'll see shipping containers. We call them Connex boxes. They have props inside of them. We have them shaped like apartments. We have them. We have an entanglement prop where we crawl through and the purpose of it is to get us tangled where we have to get out. So we have a lot of different props down there. We have the one that you see right here on the right. We call it a Christmas tree prop. It simulates like a busted gas line, so there's gas running to it. And then that's how we train, like moving towards a busted gas line and put it out and, so forth. So, and the other thing we try and do as much as we can is the bottom middle picture there. We get donated houses from time to time. It doesn't happen very often. This one, I forget where this one was. It was over just on the north side of town, but this was a house that was donated to us a couple years ago, and it was probably one of the better trainings that we've ever had. So we're really fortunate when we get those houses that we're able to trade in. It doesn't get any more real than burning in a real house. So we like getting those. We also have cars that are donated to us from time to time that gives us training with extrication, and then usually after we cut on them for a while, we set them on fire so we can practice putting them out. So we actually did that at our open house this past weekend. We gave a demonstration of how to use the jaws of life, and then we filled it with hay and set it on fire and showed everybody how we put a car fire out. So that was pretty neat. That was one of the highlights of the day. So this, Ms. Deborah mentioned our hot weekend. So this is a weekend that we have every year, and this year was I believe it was our 5th year to have it, if I'm not mistaken. So this is one of the most exciting weekends of the year that we have. So you can see in the background, that's the building that we just built, thanks to Single Tax. So the instructors, we had instructors and firefighters from 8 different states from across the country come in. You can see the large group there. We had 65 firefighters and I believe 10 or 12 instructors from across the country. So we had the best fire instructors in the nation come and teach this class for us, and it's almost the same instructors. It's pretty much the same instructors every year that come. They come from New York. They come from Atlanta. One came from Wisconsin. They come from Georgia. They come from all over the country. And so some of these guys, that's what they do. They travel the country and teach fire. And so we were very fortunate to have them come again this year. All these folks, obviously stay in Fairhope, so it's a boost to the community as well. But great training for not only our firefighters, but also firefighters from across the country. So, and the lead instructor, his name's Todd Edwards, he's from Atlanta. He was extremely complimentary of our new building. So he's already looking forward to coming back next year. He actually talked about doing another one like twice a year, and it's a big undertaking, so I'm not sure we're going to tackle that or not, but they really were impressed with our building. And some of the firefighters, it's really cool because you have firefighters come from like New Orleans, and we had the furthest firefighter we had was from New Mexico, and they just are amazed that a volunteer department has the facilities that we have in Fairhope, that people literally travel from all over the country to come and train here, so it's really cool. So just to talk about the upgrade for a minute, as you can see here, this is our old building in the middle there. That's what the old building looked like. So it was built in 1992, so it was very old, and really had served its purpose for a very long time. So it kind of is one of those things where you don't really need one until you need one, and we realized after actually it was the hot weekend a couple years ago that it was just beginning to get unsafe, and so that's when we went to the city. We asked them for funds to build another one. At that time they just did not have the funds to help us, and so we went to the Single Tax Corporation, and they went above and beyond to help us build a new facility. So that's what the old one looked like, and kind of a few pictures there of tearing it down. We did keep a couple beams from that, so our plan is we're going to get names engraved of everybody that's ever been on the fire department, and we're going to hang those beams somewhere on the new building. We haven't really figured out how we're going to do that yet, but just kind of a memoriam to appreciate all the volunteers who've been on the department since 1936. So kind of a neat idea there that we're working on. This is the new, so this is really the pictures that we presented to Single Tax back in 2024. and that's the company and kind of the design. And this is just some pictures I threw in here of the construction. So as you can see on the left there, that literally, so it's built in Texas. It was built in Texas. That's where this company is. And they bring these shipping containers in one by one on an 18-wheeler. So for a year and a half, we were waiting on this building. It was supposed to be finished last summer, and then there were some delays with all the tariff things and all that happened, so there were some delays in getting parts and so forth. But regardless, we were finally able to build it this year in February. But this is how it came. So we had, I think it was 16 18-wheelers of product or items come to build it, and so they lined Thompson Hall Road, and it took us a year and a half to get the building started, and it took them 4 days to build it. But it was very well worth the wait. And then we had a huge crane out there, of course, and they lifted the containers one by one and built it. So one of the neat things about this building is it has capabilities that we just didn't have before. So we have, as you can see on the left over there, the staircase with the yellow railing up on that very top 4th floor. We have the capability to do rappel training off of that, which we did not have that before. So we actually sent multiple members of our department to rope and rescue technical training to come back and teach us how to rappel. With the new buildings going up and so forth, we feel like there potentially could be a need for that. So that's the reason that we had that added to this building. Another neat thing about this building is some of the walls inside of it, you can actually move the doors 90 degrees, so you can open the door one way and pin it closed, and you can move it another way and pin it closed, or you can leave it straight. It also has sliding walls in it that we can move around. So we can change the configuration of it to where it's never the same. And so that's a huge advantage to us as training. In the old building, we did not have that capability. Everybody knew what the building looked like. Everybody had been in it 1,000 times. And so to train in it was getting just, it was monotonous. And so with this building, we can change it up, and it's never the same. So that's a huge advantage for us, and obviously helps us with our training significantly. And the other thing it has built in is on the bottom right picture, or on the right picture, on the left, there's a door there up under those 2 signs. That's a forcible entry door built into it. So that's, if we go to a house and the door's locked and it has multiple, bolt locks on it or whatever, that's a door that trains us, that we can use to help train us on how to get into houses or commercial buildings or whatever the case may be, where we have to get in through a door that's locked. So it's a great prop that we have. On the back side of it, there's a burn floor on the 1st floor, and then the 2nd and 3rd floor also have burn rooms built in them, which is again something that we did not have in our old building. So our old building, we could only burn on the 1st floor. In this building, we can burn on 3 of the 4 floors. So the 4th floor there is really mainly just for the rappelling tower. So there's really nothing in there but a staircase. But the other 3, we have burn rooms in them, which is a great advantage for our training, because again, we've never been able to train burning on multiple floors. And so the first couple times we've used this building, all of our members have been really challenged, because it's just training we haven't done before, except for when we've had houses donated that were multi-story. So it's a great addition for us. And I can tell you, from a firefighter standpoint, heat is obviously your worst enemy. And in this building, the heat is like nothing any of us have ever experienced before. It gets so hot so quick, which is a good thing, because it puts us in conditions that simulate a hot fire. So that's another great thing about this building. There's really nothing about this building that's not incredible. So very excited and very humbled to be able to have this in Fairhope. Some more pictures here. You can see the one on the right. That just is going up to the 4th story there. That's where we rappel from. And then these are some pictures that were from their crane. So just some neat kind of overhead pictures there. We were able to have a dedication when we did the ribbon cutting here. We had a lot of people there. One of the neat things we had there was the family. So the center is named after Alfred Skeeter Nelson. He was a firefighter back in the 50s, and he was the closest line of duty death firefighter that we had in Fairhope. So the building's named after him, and we were able to have his this happened that day. But it was really neat because these kids were there. So it was a special moment. So a little happier moment here. I apologize. So we had our open house this past weekend, and we had, I don't know, Krista, how many people do we have there? 200 or 300 kids? So we had a ton of kids there. And this is one of our favorite weekends of the year because the community, we have the police department there, we have EMA there, we have 911 there. And so this year we had the electric department there. We had our airport fire truck there, which was really neat because I don't think any of the public has ever even seen that. So it's a huge green truck. I think I have a picture of it here in a minute. And then we have our Hoganville truck there, which is the truck that's in the visitor center in downtown. So it was one of the first fire trucks that we had in Fairhope. So it was really a great event. We have face painting, we have a jumpy house, we have just all kinds of activities for the kids. We had snow cones there. So it's a really fun event. We cook hamburgers and hot dogs all day. We give out drinks. So it's a great event that we have every year in April. So just wanted to show a few pictures of that. We over here on the bottom right, we have a little prop there where we let kids spray a fire hose. We have a little obstacle course set up for them where they do some little firefighter things, and then the last thing they get to do is spray the fire hose. So that's pretty neat. It's one of the more popular attractions. And then the three left pictures there, that's the car where we, on the far left there, we have MedStar there with us. We cut the car. We basically demonstrate how we remove a victim from a car. And so, and we do it from the very beginning until the ambulance loads the patient onto the ambulance. So it was pretty neat. And then, as you see there, we set it on fire, and then we showed folks how we get the hose off the truck and do all that thing. A lot of people don't realize that there's water on fire trucks. A lot of people think you have to be hooked to a hydrant. And that was a couple comments that were made during this on Saturday. Most of our fire engines carry 1,000 gallons of water. We have a couple that only carry 500, but when we go to car fires, we typically don't hook to a fire hydrant. We just use the 1,000 gallons that's on the fire engine. So it's kind of neat for the public to see that. It's just things that they wouldn't know otherwise, you know. And then just a few more pictures. That left picture there, that's our airport truck. So that's we call it an ARF truck. So that's used at the airport. If in the unfortunate event that we ever have an airplane emergency, that's the truck that would be up first response. And then we set up our ladder truck there to our new building. One of the highlights of the day was watching the kids climb that building. We had, obviously, we were there for safety, but that view from up top is a really cool view. So there's not a lot to see, but you can kind of see the whole department. You can see the neighborhood behind us. There's a pond out behind the training center. You can see that. So it's a really neat view and something that people wouldn't get to experience unless they came to the open house. So pretty neat. And then right there we had the Baldwin County fire trailer. So what that is a smoke trailer. So it simulates, there's little remotes in there, and you can simulate like smoke coming out of a electrical outlet, or smoke, or the stove on fire, or the microwave on fire. And there's an infrared fire extinguisher that the kids use, and they point it, and then it gives them a little signal of some sort that says they're pointing it the right direction to put the fire out. So it's a little neat training thing for smaller kids, but that's really neat that the county has and travels around the county for different departments to use. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the truck on the left, that's the truck that's in our visitor center here in downtown. So that was one of the first fire engines that Fairhope had, so that's pretty neat. And then I took a couple aerial views right there from the top of the tower of the crowd and the car after they'd put it out. And then on the right here, there's the EMA has a fire extinguisher prop. So basically we hit a button, does a big fire, and the kid gets to spray a real fire extinguisher at it. So that's a really popular attraction there as well. So bottom line is, our open house is a great event. We get to show off our department, we get to meet a lot of people, and we get to answer a lot of questions. I think that's one of the neatest things. There's a lot of people that ask a lot of questions, and we're there to answer them for the community. So it's been growing. We've only done it for 4 years, and I think this year was by far our biggest, and so it continues to grow, and we're really happy about that. So. And then my last slide, I told you I was going to put a little plug in for our golf tournament coming up. So we have a golf tournament on October the 9th. So this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Again, we've only done it once. We did it last year. This will be our second annual. So if you know anyone that's interested, we'll put it all over Facebook. But we had a phenomenal turnout last year. The community supported us way beyond what we expected. We did not expect the turnout that we had and the support we had, but we ran out of teams. We had to turn people down. There were so many people that wanted to play. And so this year, as I said earlier, we're going to expand it. But it's a really fun day. Mayor was there, city council's there. It's at Quail Creek, so we're fortunate that they donate the golf course to us that day. And so it's a fun day if you'd like to come out. But a great day for the department and the city. And that's all I have. So I will open it up to questions if anyone has any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hang on, let me get you some. Thank you for a great presentation. I'm wondering about when the new trucks come in, do you sell off the old trucks or give them to another? What happens to the old trucks?
So we'll keep one as a reserve. So one of these is to replace one that was damaged earlier in 2025. So that's one of them, the engine one. It was involved in an accident. The other, so the ladder truck will go to Station 2, and then our engine 2, I believe, is going to go to Station 4 to replace about a 20-something-year-old engine. And then the engine, the blue one, the really neat, the Fairhope Pirate theme one, it's going to go out to Station 3. We'll probably either sell that, or in the past we've donated it to needy departments. So the last one we had, we donated it, we sold it to them for $1. It was a department up near, it was in Conecuh County, up where Conecuh sausage is made. I don't know the name, but it's a very small rural department, but we sold it to them for $1. They needed a fire truck, and so we sold it to them for $1. So if we don't need it as a reserve, we'll probably do something similar with a needy department somewhere in the state. Yep.
I'm coming.
I think what you guys do is just amazing to me. But who gets to decide who drives the trucks?
Well, we have a training program to drive trucks, and Alabama Fire College actually has classes for driver training. But really, to answer your question, it's up to the officers at each station. So when we have new members come on, we do have a bylaw that says you can't drive a fire truck for a minimum of, I believe it's 1 year. And so we teach a lot of classes, and one of the things we teach is you really don't ever need to sit in the front seat until you're really good in the back seat. And by the back seat, I mean you need to know how to fight fire. You need to know how the hose works. You need to know how the hose handles before you get in the driver's seat. One of the things that a driver does is they also are your pumper. So they're the person that puts the truck in gear. They're the person that gets on that panel that you see standing up in the middle of a fire truck, and they're the lifeline of the hose. So they're the ones who pull the lever, push the lever to make sure the appropriate amount of water is going to the person who's on the hose line. So it's more than just driving. It's one of the most important jobs that there are, because if you don't do that correct, you're putting the person's life on the line who's at the end of the hose. So it's more than that, but it's typically it's up to the officers at each station. When someone's qualified and they prove that they can do it, then we check them off to drive. Yep.
How do you schedule? Are y'all on call? And how many do you have on call every day?
Yeah, so it's probably one of the most frequent questions we get. So we don't have a schedule. So during the day, we have what we call a day crew. So we have 4 city employees who they don't technically work for the fire department, but they do work for the public works department. Our chief is one of those employees. And so their job is to go around and make sure the fire stations are clean, the fire trucks are in good working order, they do the maintenance on the fire trucks, they do the maintenance at the stations, and they do all that kind of things. So 3 of those folks are members of the volunteer department. So they're able, the city allows them to respond even though they're working. So technically, they don't work for the fire department, they don't get paid by the fire department, they work for the city, but the city allows them to respond. During the week, we also have other members who work for the city. We have someone who works in inspections, we have someone who works in right-of-way, some different job functions, and the city allows them to respond as well. After hours, we respond from home. So we all have radios, we all have pagers, we all have our cell phones, which have an app on them that the call comes through as well. So our members are put at stations that are closest to their home. And so usually, if we get a page, people go to the station, they get on a truck, and they go to the call. One thing we do have is we have what's called a command vehicle, and that vehicle is manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by an officer. And so we always have someone who responds to a call immediately, so it doesn't matter what it is. So let's just say it's a medical call. No one's waiting for someone to get to the station for that command officer to go. That command officer, as soon as it's called out, goes to whatever call it is. One of the advantages to that, obviously, is if say it's a fire or something like that, they can get to the scene, they can evaluate what's going on, and then they can determine what's needed at the scene, and then they can get on the radio and request the appropriate response or whatever the case may be. So our response time, just so you know, is one of the top in the county, and that's one of the reasons our ISO rating is so good, is because our response time is so good. So with having 4 stations, no one lives too far away from a station where they can get there pretty quick, but that's how we do it. So we are looking at some different programs as the city continues to grow to have some type of scheduling system, but we haven't finalized all of those plans yet. So, but it is something that we are looking at.
You said that you only carry 1,000 gallons of water in your trucks.
Mm-hmm.
What is the city doing to prepare for all these electric vehicles which require so much water to contain fires?
Yep. So there's no amount of trucks that we could have that would have the amount of water that's needed for an electrical vehicle fire. We've actually had electrical vehicle fire training, and so just an FYI for everyone who doesn't know about electrical vehicle fires. So on average, an electrical vehicle fire takes about 30,000 gallons to extinguish. And it's because of the batteries. It's because of the way that the batteries are. And so in most cases, if it's not endangering something else, we're going to let it burn out. Because the way the batteries are, even if we put them out, it could be 2 or 3 days and they can reignite themselves. It's just the way the chemicals or I'm not an expert on it, but it's the way the chemicals or the cells in them react. I'm not really sure, but there's actually been batteries that have been submerged in water for days, and then they take them out of water and they reignite these electrical vehicle batteries. So they're very dangerous, and the fumes are deadly. So if you're ever around an electrical vehicle fire, never breathe the fumes, just so you know. It can kill you. So knock on wood, we're very fortunate. We haven't had a major electrical vehicle fire yet. We did purchase a little, I'm not sure, it's called a turtle. So it's a tool, it's really big, it's like this big around, and we keep it in our command vehicle. It's a big circle, and it's got little holes all in it, and we put our fire hose on, it's got a tube on it, we put our fire hose on it, and we shove it under the vehicle, and we hook it up to a hydrant, and we turn the hydrant on, and it literally just sprays thousands and thousands of gallons of water just to try and cool it down. But electric vehicle fires they're unique, and it takes a tremendous amount of water to deal with them. And like I said earlier, if it's safe, we're just going to let it burn until it burns out. Tony's, who's our local record company, they've had to add some things at their facility to deal with those batteries and with electrical vehicle fires. And so as there's more and more on the roads, it's inevitable we're going to have a big one day. And really the only thing we do is either let it burn, put the turtle under it and let it go to work, or hook to a hydrant and just douse it with water, keep whatever's around it safe. If it's in a house, our goal is not to protect the car, it's to protect the house. And so that's what we would do. We would figure out a way to pull it out, or garage or whatever, and just let it burn. So, but it's a good question. It's a very unique situation if or when we have one. But we've trained many times, and we've actually gone to Tony's. They've given us classes as well on how to deal with those batteries and so forth. And so we had someone come in from, I don't want to tell you wrong, but I can't remember if they were from Atlanta or they were from somewhere away, and they came in and did a training with us on those lithium batteries and so forth, and so electrical vehicle cars and batteries and so forth. So, and it's not just the car batteries, it's the little electric scooters that are very dangerous. It's, there's a lot of other, it's golf cart batteries, the lithium golf cart batteries. There's boats that have lithium batteries in them. All of that poses a threat and a unique challenge to us when they catch on fire. And so it's important that we know what type of batteries they are and so forth. So, yep.
About 40 years ago, I had a good friend who was a volunteer fireman here, and I was in the car when his pager went off. And I have never forgotten the whole change of attitude in the car, the electricity that just bounced all around as we came up, the S-curve on Fairhope Avenue and pulled into the fire department here. And he was out of the car. I actually reached up and grabbed the brake to get a fire to stop, and he was out to fight the fire. How do you all come off of this? This huge adrenaline rush. It's incredible what you all go through.
Yeah, so it is an adrenaline rush. And to be honest with you, most of our calls are not serious. And so we get that adrenaline rush. I'll just speak for myself. So I get that adrenaline rush when I'm going to a call. Fortunately, the good thing is most of the calls we go to, say we get paged out for a house fire. Most of the house fires we get called to are not house fires. They're someone burnt something on the stove, or so you have that huge adrenaline rush, and you get there, and then there's nothing to do, so you just go back home. I don't know how your body just processes it, but for me, I'm emotional, obviously, but I'm not, my mind doesn't hang on to that. I mean, my body just kind of lets it go. So, I think every person's probably different. The biggest toll on us is going to be the medical calls that are tough. And so we actually have training that we've gone through to help us just with not everybody handles it well, and so those are the ones that stick with you. And so I think that's probably the most challenging things to come off of. And the police department, Krista works for the police department. I know they have mental health training, and they've invited us to come to some of those. We've had mental health training at our station. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that toll that it takes on people. And if we see someone that needs help, we get them the help they need. There's an iPad or multiple iPads that the police department has, that if we have someone who we feel is in need of, to speak to someone confidentially, the police department brings that iPad to them, and they do their thing on the iPad, and it instantly connects them with someone to help them. And so we have resources in the county. We have pastors in the county. We have, there's a whole team of, I can't think of the name of it, but there's a whole, what's that? Yeah, like a peer team to help us with a lot of the things that we see and we experience. And so we certainly have support. The adrenaline, I think everybody handles that different. Some people, they get home after a call and they can't go to sleep for hours. Me, I get home and I go right to sleep. So, I think everyone just kind of handles that differently.
Hang on, as I'm running across the line.
Thanks, Kelly. So I guess it was something that you mentioned that made me think about, is there any possibility of a fire academy like they do with, I've taken the police academy course, and it made me think, well, maybe that would be a cool thing to do for the fire department, is to kind of give a glimpse from some citizens inside your world. What do you think?
So, yeah, we've never had that. The police department does it. Krista went through it before she went to work for the fire department, or for the police department. And I think it's a great program that the police department does. And I think that it would probably be beneficial to do a fire one. To be honest with you, it's something we've never thought of. Probably be the one I'd probably be the one to do it. So I guess you just gave me a challenge maybe to think about doing it. But Yeah, I definitely think it would. I think it would pay off. I think a lot of people would learn a lot about the fire department that they don't know. Some of the things that the police department does with ride-alongs and things like that. There's some things that we might not be able to do just because of the nature of some of the more. The police department goes into very dangerous situations. I know that, but some of the situations we go into, we just couldn't do ride-alongs with. But some of the medical things, it's protected by HIPAA, and there's just a lot of things that we wouldn't be able to do. But certainly, and maybe not a week long. I think theirs is a week long, if I'm not mistaken. How long? 6 weeks. Oh, it's 6 weeks. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, 1 day a week for 6 weeks. So 6 days. Yeah. So maybe an abbreviated version for the fire department, but yeah, it's something I'll think about. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Give me something to do. I don't have enough to do already. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Just a comment. As someone who had a medical emergency and required a lot of help from your department to come get me, I really appreciate the attitude they came in with, because I was in poor shape. I had a very bad bout of food poisoning.
Okay.
Took me down so just to see the way your guys worked and work together and calming my wife, myself, and everyone, because they sent 2 65-pound female EMTs out to get me, and I was on the second floor bathroom.
Yeah.
And they just came in with a chair and took me down the steps, and it was just seamless. Got them to the ambulance, and they probably had a good laugh when they got turned loose, went back to the station. But it was just nice to know that I didn't make them worry about it. I was there to take care of it, and I appreciate it.
Well, good. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate it.
I would like to follow also that to do the good test of your home and the strength of your home, to have 2 EMTs, your sister, your husband, yourself, and 4 firemen on the second floor of your home, that's when you realize that your home is built very, very well.
Yeah, and we like I said, we don't respond to every medical call, but a situation like that where it was 2, female EMTs or paramedics who couldn't have lifted you and brought you down the stairs, they call us, and we're more than happy to come. That's what we're here for, is to serve the community. So that's part of what we signed up for. So glad to help you. Glad it worked out. Anything else?
Well, I think we should give him a big Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Feel better.